La Llorona, Episode 2. Misfortunes in the dark tonight. The sky was heavy with dark clouds, hiding even the faintest light of the moon. The small village lay shrouded in mist, while the wind howled through the trees by the river, sounding like whispers with no clear source. From the old to the young, no one dared step outside once night fell. The villagers had begun calling her by a chilling name, La Llorona, the weeping woman. At first, the sobbing voices and fleeting shadows only unsettled them, but as one strange event followed another, each ending in tragic death, the fear grew into certainty. A curse was haunting them. It began one evening at sunset. The village children often played by the river, catching fish. But that day, just as the church bell rang, a boy slipped and fell into the rushing water. His friends screamed for help, but before the adults could arrive, his small body was gone. Some swore they saw long black hair floating on the water's surface, gliding past and vanishing at the very moment the boy was pulled under. The villagers trembled. They believed La Llorona herself had dragged him to the cold depths. The tragedy had barely settled when another struck, only weeks later. A man returning home from the market suddenly disappeared. The next morning they found his body in the forest, his eyes wide open as if frozen in terror. His face still bore the mark of horror, and strangely, his feet were caked in river mud, though he had never gone near the banks. His wife recalled hearing a woman crying outside their window that night, cries so sorrowful they chilled her to the bone. When she looked out, she saw only a white shadow gliding away in the fog. From then on, the village was gripped by fear. Night after night, people claimed they heard weeping from the river. Some said while crossing the fields at dusk, they saw a woman in white, her hair covering her face, standing motionless and staring toward the village. But when they approached, she vanished, like mist dissolving in the wind. The worst tragedy struck on a stormy night. A family of 4 living at the forest's edge saw their house erupt in flames. The villagers rushed to help, but the fire raged too fiercely. By the time it was put out, nothing remained but ashes. And there, in the rain-soaked ground, were footprints bare, feminine, leading toward the river. They disappeared at the water's edge. From then on, the villagers believed La Llorona did not only haunt the river, she sought out any who mocked or belittled her grief. As the days passed, the disasters grew. Cattle died without reason. Children fell ill with sudden fevers, murmuring strange words in their sleep, sometimes sounding as though they were crying. Rumours spread that La Llorona wandered the village, seeking young souls to replace the children she had lost. Every cry in the night was another soul being called away. The elders whispered that these misfortunes were no accident. They were the mark of an ancient curse. They believed that when a woman dies in anguish, her soul cannot rest. To survive, she must take the lives of others, especially innocent children. One night, a group of young men decided they could no longer live under such fear. They gathered with torches and spears, marching toward the river. The air was damp, heavy with the smell of mud. Insects chirped, waves lapped at the shore, and every man's face was tense. They told themselves that if they could confront La Llorona, they could drive her away. At midnight, a cold wind swept across, nearly snuffing out their torches. In the silence, a cry rose long, trembling, filled with despair. A faint figure appeared on the far side of the river. A woman in white, her tangled hair falling wild, her face hidden in shadow. Her thin hands reached forward as though searching for something lost. The men stood frozen, their legs locked in place. One dropped his spear, trembling. The weeping grew louder, closer, as if she was moving toward them. No one dared utter a word. And then, in an instant, the white figure vanished, leaving the river eerily calm. When they returned, none of them spoke. Each carried a private terror. They all knew then, no one in the village could deny La Llorona's presence any longer. The misfortunes had only just begun.